There's no surprise that many of us play video games. They're fun, they're creative, they can tell a good story, and it's a way to escape reality. I think a lot of us can agree that one element that we like about video games is the music. I mean, music can help a video game, it can hurt a video game, it can even affect the buy rates of a video game. Dragon Ball HD Collection, anybody? Okay, maybe that sold pretty well, but I mean, I think it would have sold even more if it had the original soundtracks from Budokai 1 and 3 on it, but that's a whole nother topic. Anyways, lately I've been listening to old music from video games I played when I was a kid, and it really brings me back. So I thought it would be cool to do this top 10 of my favorite video game soundtracks, instrumental only, so no soundtracks involving lyrics in it. That'll be for a whole nother video. So, let's get started. Yu-Gi-Oh! Eternal Duelist Soul was one of my favorite games to play on the Game Boy Advance. I can't even tell you how many hours I spent playing that game. There was a lot of different variety of people to duel against, and depending on who you picked, you actually had a different song that was playing. Like, there was a difference between me going against Yugi Moto than if I was going against someone like Aseto Kaiba. The soundtrack on the game really just added this different vibe to the feeling of dueling a certain person. It just felt very right, and very enjoyable to listen to, by the way. Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelist of the Roses, now, okay, I think it's a really good game, however, it is difficult. Very difficult. Oh my goodness. Now, despite that, the soundtrack was just amazing. Just listen to the intro, just listen. Now, if that doesn't get you pumped, then I don't know what will. And then it had a lot of good songs for whenever you were dueling somebody. So listen to this. Yeah, the game might be kind of a pain to play, but the soundtrack kinda just makes up for it. Mario Kart 64 hands down has to be my favorite racing game on the N64. I mean, if you have not played this game, I mean, where have you been? It's just great, I mean, from the gameplay, through the levels, but the music was just amazing. I mean, just listen to this. This soundtrack just really brings me back to the days when video games were just so simple and fun. And the soundtrack is definitely a classic. SmackDown Shut Your Mouth is one of my favorite wrestling games of all time, hands down. I think it's even better than half the wrestling games now, but another story for another time. Alright, the soundtrack for this was pretty good. Just listen. I also love the soundtracks for the pay-per-views. I know most pay-per-view themes in real life would have lyrics to them. You know, the generic music they have for the pay-per-views just sound freaking epic on here. Just listen. This soundtrack shows that a generic wrestling soundtrack is actually the right step to go with it. Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3 actually might be my favorite Dragon Ball Z game ever. I mean, all the stuff you can do, the gameplay, yes, it's not as good as how the games are now exactly. However, there are some key elements I do like about Budokai 3. The soundtrack. Just listen to the intro. I get goosebumps just by hearing that. Now, the soundtrack when you fight people, oh man. Hands down one of the best DBZ soundtracks for a video game ever. SmackDown Here Comes the Pain is another wrestling game which has just generic music. But honestly, I'd rather hear these songs than the songs we get nowadays. I mean, seriously. I mean, just listen to this. And just like Shut Your Mouth, they had amazing pay-per-view themes. Just listen. Hands down one of the best video game wrestling soundtracks of all time. Aladdin for Sega Genesis is hands down my favorite Sega Genesis game. I mean, this game was just a lot of fun. From the gameplay to how it looked, and the music. It's pretty much the music from Aladdin, but it's just has this video game sound to it. But it's just amazing. I mean, it really makes you feel like you're Aladdin sometimes when you're just playing the game and hearing this music. Just take a listen to it. Every time I hear this soundtrack, it makes me just wanna play this game again. WWF No Mercy is practically my favorite wrestling game on the N64, and one of my favorite wrestling games ever. The soundtrack for the game, it's kinda hard to believe that This song right here never gets old to listen to.
Diggity, diggity dog. Breaking. Diggity, diggity dog. Shark. Breaking.
Seriously, diggity dog, that's just it? And that doesn't get old to listen to? Then you also have the music whenever you fight. I honestly just feel wrestling games today should just learn from a video game like this with the soundtrack. Spider-Man 2000 was my first superhero game I ever played actually on any console, and it was amazing. From being able to just swing around, do punches, kicks, and web up your enemies, it was just amazing at the time. Now the soundtrack for this game, it just fits the mood for anything that goes on, because there's this one part in Spider-Man 2000 where you have to run away from the police because they're trying to come after you because they think you did something wrong, and here's how it sounds. And that just really brings me back. And it has a lot of other cool music too in the game when you fight people. Just listen. Hands down one of the best Spider-Man video game soundtracks ever. Dragon Ball Z Budokai 1 was my first Dragon Ball Z game I ever played. The music, it's just king. I mean, goodness. And you remember how earlier I brought up how that HD Budokai collection didn't even have the music they had on here? Now, I know it had to do with copyright issues. I understand that because, you know, a lot of the music from Budokai 1 did have songs that sound familiar to other songs. So that's the reason why it wasn't included in the HD edition. But, I mean, Budokai 1 music, it just fits so well. I mean, all the cutscenes you would see with the music playing, you just wish they would bring this music back. Take a listen to this.
In my opinion, this is the best Dragon Ball Z video game soundtrack ever. And I could even make an argument too, this is probably one of the best Dragon Ball Z soundtracks, just period. Period. It shows because a lot of DBZ fans use a lot of the music from this video game in their videos, so that can tell you that this music is definitely legendary.
Thank you for watching the video, everybody. I appreciate it. And if you want to see more from me in the future, you should press that subscribe button. I'm the familiar one here, and I'll see you next time.